the Nerd Card. We have a very special episode today. Phil, take it away.
We have a very special guest today. Today, we will be looking at where my nerd card came from genetically. Please welcome, on his birthday, Mr. Larry Thacker, my father. Yay, all right.
Thank you.
And basically, what we're going to be looking at today is where I came from.
Well, not like photos or anything.
No, we won't be looking at photos
Okay,
unless Chuck calls my mom and tries to get some stuff.
No, I mean, she probably would help us out if we asked,
sure
but we're not going to do that.
I'm sure she would. But no, what we want to look at is where Dad's nerd card came from. And OG.
Like laminated at the library, kind of.
Yes.
Nerd card.
He's got a great nerd card.
Probably is.
So, Dad, I know one of the things that we've talked about is you really started out with comics.
Yes.
And like you had a paper route to pay for it.
Right.
4 weeks. 20 papers, that's $2 plus tip.
Actually, I started reading comics when I was about 9 years old. A friend of mine's dad delivered stuff like that to the drugstores. You know, he drove a delivery truck. He would bring stuff home, and me and his son John would read them. I started buying them after I got a paper out at about 11, and I used to ride my bike about 1.5 miles to this Marinko Drugs in Hazel Park, and spend all the money I made in the week on comic books.
So I'm almost afraid to ask of what the fortune in comic books you might have today if you had them still.
Sure.
Well, the problem is I kept all my old comic books, but when I moved out of the house, I left a box downstairs that was supposed to be kept for me until we could get settled into our apartment when my wife and I got married. Well, my mom was cleaning the basement and threw it out.
Oh, that hurts my feelings.
I had baseball cards.
Brutal.
I had 6 Mickey Mantle cards.
That hurts my feelings.
So I could have bought a car with just the baseball cards that I had. So,
yeah,
but
a nice
gone.
car, not a bad one either.
Turn down for what?
But they're all gone, so there's nothing I can do about it.
Phil, that probably makes you pretty sad, too.
A little. It does. It does.
Because I probably still have them. I don't sell much of anything, so.
Right.
I've been in your basement.
Yeah. I can't even get in my basement.
Well, it was a while ago, you know.
That's true. But so from comics, obviously, were there any of your, when you were reading comics, were there any characters that were particularly your favorite?
Well, actually, my favorite of all time was probably Batman. I liked
Father
Batman.
like son.
Me too.
Shocking.
But I was more into the DC comic universe back then. I really
Makes
did
sense.
like Daredevil. For some reason, Daredevil,
Sure.
He's
struck
Batman-y.
me.
Because he's Batman,
Right.
yeah.
He's a regular guy, with problems. But
Yeah, lots of problems.
But I like them all. I used to love the Justice League comics. I always waited for those to come out. Those were always good.
Well, and with respect to that, have you seen the new cut of Justice League?
No, I haven't seen the new cut. I've seen the regular.
You
one
should
that was
watch the
originally.
Snyder one. It's really good.
It's really good. And
it's long. It's 4 hours.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after you watch it, you can watch our episode on it, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen your episode on it.
Oh, well, there you go. That's all you
So
really need.
You need to watch the movie.
It's not all you really need.
For those of you out there, you need to watch the movie. Don't just
watch
our
the movie
episode.
first, and then come back and watch our assessment of it, which is not equally as good. It's good though. I like it.
It's good.
It's good.
Just, it's not
good. Yeah.
The Snyder cut is outstanding.
The Snyder cut's way better than anything we're doing. Regardless,
100%.
though. So like we said, Batman's been my favorite. Now, Chuck and I have said that we lean Marvel in terms of just overall story.
It makes total sense though that your dad would lean DC because DC is the Elder Statesman,
right?
And was
DC
set in foundation before when Marvel was a kid wet behind its ears.
True.
DC was definitely the more popular back in my day.
Oh, I believe that. Batman and Superman. Come on.
But I mean, I always liked the Fantastic Four. When I first started buying the Iron Man comics, he looked like 2 tin cans with with legs and arms.
Cover of Iron Man 1, yeah. He looks just like in the movie, kind of.
Yeah.
The
Little
Mark
bit.
1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even more medieval-esque.
Sure.
Yeah.
More like a suit of armor than
more
a
like
modern
pots
suit of
and
armor.
pans on his head.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And tell me something. Why does a metal armor have to have abs? I don't understand that.
That's a
That's
great
a fine question, Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Why does a metal armor have to have abs?
Exactly. So, Kevin Feige, whenever you can get back to us on that, we'd like
We'd love to hear
it.
an answer. Sure.
Dad wants to know. It's his birthday. Come on, Kevin Feige. Do something. So, from comics, what was the next thing that stamped on your nerd card?
Well, the original Star Trek series came out when I was 10 years old.
1966.
And I had a hard time convincing my dad to let me watch it because it was up later. But I did watch every one of them for it was only 3 seasons. The first.
It wasn't a long run. The original run wasn't very long.
There was no DVR. You had to catch that guy on the air.
That's it.
Yeah, when I was there, when I was a kid, we had 3 channels. That was it. So
Yeah.
you know,
It was 2, 4, and 7 back then,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
well, we could get Windsor 9, and we did have a couple of UHF channels.
Yeah, oh yeah. Channel
But,
50 was Channel 50
yeah.
live and kicking then?
Yeah, it was 56. You know, we watched a lot of nature stuff on 56. But,
Yeah.
but I was a really big Star Trek fan. I really enjoyed Star Trek.
So are you Kirk or Spock?
I'm probably more Spockish than Kirkish.
I would agree with that. Having grown up with this man, I'd say yes. He is
Well, I
more
mean-
Spockish.
That's a good answer, but I also mean like in terms of who did you like better? Is it still Spock or?
Yeah, probably Spock.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
only logical.
Yeah,
It is only logical.
you know, I saw on Big Bang Theory where they were debating on who was the best captain, and
Oh.
I still think Picard was probably the best captain.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you.
Yeah, Picard, hands down.
I think Picard is the best captain.
I think. Can I throw Janeway in there? I'm just kidding.
You can.
No, it's Picard. It's Picard for sure.
There's people who argue Captain Janeway.
I'm sure
I
they
mean,
would.
in
She was a strong
Voyager,
woman. and-
the deep cut, but in Voyager, when it's Granny Janeway getting them home, she's a hard ass.
oh yeah,
She does some stuff. So
yeah.
you know, there's that element there. Captain Janeway could roll.
See, I remember growing up we'd watch Voyager.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so this is something that Dad was watching at 10 years old, and it carried on. And at 10 years old, I was watching Voyager
Sure.
with Dad.
My mom used to pop on Star Trek on the weekend on Saturdays. It'd be on Channel 50. Watch it in reruns. I mean, I've seen every episode via reruns. Obviously, I wasn't alive when it came out originally, but
Yeah.
you know, that was a show that was always on. You know, my mom's a big science fiction fan too. So
See, I don't think I give myself enough credit. I always say that I haven't watched enough Star Trek, but honestly, we watched Voyager as it came out.
yeah,
We watched Next Generation, and I mean, we went and saw.
that was in the news when Next Generation, when they were going to release the I think it was the Detroit News or the Free Press, I can't remember which one, ran a big article on the Next Generation. The cast photo was on the front page over the fold. I mean, it was a
Sure.
big deal.
We went and saw We went and saw Insurrection in the theater.
Yeah.
Me and Dad when it came out.
yeah.
F. Murray Abraham was the bad guy.
It
in Insurrection.
it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't really big into Star Trek, but I really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's a huge franchise.
it was.
Huge effect on the nerd culture.
Well, yeah, I think the only one that's had a bigger effect is Star Wars.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
Trekkies will argue with you, though.
And Trekkies will argue with me.
That is true.
Yes, they will.
Oh, I'm sorry, Trekkers. I don't like Trekkie.
They don't like
I'm both.
Trekkie?
I
What is it? Come on.
I like Star Trek and Star Wars, but yeah, I've been told that Trekker is the preferred term.
That is also true.
Trekkers, okay, whatever. Fine, Trekkers.
I've
I've always known it was.
snarky.
I always
okay.
thought of it was Trekkie. I
It
always
was,
thought
and
that's what it
people
was.
associate it with a negative connotation.
Well, that's interesting. I always just thought it was a Star Trek
I prefer
fan.
Trekker.
I was actually jealous of Trekkie because Star Wars don't have that.
No Star Wars.
They had a movie.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, they made a movie about Star Trek fans.
yeah. Star Wars doesn't have that. We don't have a cool term. Nobody calls us warriors.
No, but Star Wars is in it. They like West Side Story it a little bit. Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
You
That'd
should
be
watch
fun.
it. It's
We're
funny.
gonna watch it. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So okay, obviously we've gone from comics to Star Trek. Was there any? Let's say so being family, we obviously know each other pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, Dad, you're a big fan of tech. And just like me, I nerd out on tech, new technology as it comes out. Was there any like new technology that you were kind of on the cutting edge of? You went and got before anybody else?
Well, video games. When I had my paper out, I was 16 years old, I think, when the Magnavox Odyssey came out. And all it was you watched a dot go back and forth across the screen and controlled it
like
with
Pong?
Yeah, it was Pong. That's what it was.
But
And
different variations of it?
They didn't call it that, but Pong was actually an Atari.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. But we had the game came out in September of '72, and I bought mine in late November of '72 as a Christmas gift for the whole family. And it had a bunch of different games you could do, but actually all of them did the same exact thing. It just changed. It actually had overlays that you laid on that you put on the TV screen.
Well, that's interesting.
That showed you like a tennis court or a ping pong, or badminton. They all look pretty much the same, but we still thought it was great. We still had a blast.
How much did that thing cost?
It was $100 back then.
Well,
that was a lot of money in
1972.
72 when you just had a paper out.
Yeah.
So I had a big route, and I did make pretty good money. I think I had more money in my pocket back then than I do now. But it's
less responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and out hustling, working for it. That's for sure.
I mean, you didn't have 99 problems then.
No.
Yes. That's correct.
But that game is probably still at my mom and dad's house. I should find it because I'm looking at them on eBay going for $3,500.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
I need to find it.
Well, speaking of that, actually, Dad, I need to come over at some point because I know that there's an Atari 2600 buried under your stairs somewhere.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, I know. It's
the people under the stairs might be playing it. So
they could be. They could very well be. I know it's under there. I know it works, or it did last time I saw it.
How long ago was that?
God, probably 20 years.
Okay,
yeah.
So but it might still work.
It's in there.
They made stuff different back then.
They did, yeah, for sure. Especially, the video game consoles. I know prior to me selling it, it was a heartbreaking day. I sold my original Nintendo a few years back. Still worked like a champ. It was great.
I'm surprised that you did that.
I am surprised at that as well. But also, on an unrelated topic, I am divorced as well. So...
Did she get half the Nintendo?
No. That was prior to the divorce. May or may not have contributed. Who knows?
Okay.
But yeah, that's gone.
All right.
But at that time, it did still work. And you're right. They made them better. I'm betting that Atari 2600, if I can dig it out, I need an archaeological crew.
I'm sure it was made in Japan.
I can't talk. Whatever.
Backhoe at least.
I need a backhoe. Yeah, I need a backhoe, and then I'll be able to get at it. And a permit.
Dr. Grant to come help, with the brush and...
Yes, exactly. And John Hammond to come in with a helicopter and fund it.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That'd work.
He'd just clone it.
We have plenty of those. I mean, there's emulators all over the place. You can play just about any one of those games.
We spare no expense.
Well, sparing no expense means the backhoe and the helicopter. So we'll get that.
That's why you need John Hammond.
For sure. So, Dad, obviously, all of those things contributed. The comic books, the video games, the Star Trek, all of that. So I have to thank you for one thing, which is, well, many things, but for one in particular, with the Nerd Card, introducing me to Star Wars.
Yeah. Star Wars was an amazing thing. I went to see it when it first came out, and the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars as far as, and anything that came before it really, as far as the special effects went, was just amazing. I mean, I couldn't believe sitting in the theater. Leaps and
bounds.
Oh, yeah.
I managed to see Star Wars. I worked at Wayne State at the time in a little print shop, and we printed some promotional posters for it that we stuck around. Star Wars was not pushed heavily around here. They didn't advertise it real heavily. We had a few posters that we put up around campus. And
I'd love to have one of those.
I decided,
That'd be awesome.
I was the guy that printed them all.
I wouldn't even sell it. I just want it in my room.
Yeah. I just decided that maybe I'll go see it sometime. So I was taking chemical engineering at the time, and I had a chemistry lab that got canceled in the afternoon one day. So I was home, sitting at home. My mom had made lunch. I said, "You want to go see a movie?" She said, "Sure." So we went all the way out to Southfield and saw Star Wars. And at the time, we were one of the first. It was one of the first shows. It was a Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon, and there were like 12 or 13 other people in the whole show.
That's incredible.
So I was dating my wife at the time, Jill, and so I asked her if she wanted to go see it on Friday. So we decided to go see an earlier show, like a 6 o'clock show. So we got there, and the earliest tickets I could buy, they were playing in several theaters, and the earliest I could get a seat was midnight.
Jeez.
That's incredible.
She was 14 at the time, so I had to talk to her dad to see if it was okay if I brought her home that late. But we did get to see it. She slept through it, but
yeah, well,
but I enjoyed it.
That hasn't changed. That's still Mom's take on Star Wars. But that really is a cool story, and one that we talked about in our 4 for the 4th, and I got a few details wrong actually. The theater was not in Hazel Park, so the theater that we showed was not the correct theater. Was actually in Southfield, Michigan. And no, that's it. That's the only detail I got wrong. I did pretty good.
Yeah, it was okay. But the biggest thing with me was, it's from the opening credits, the way that they scrolled the credits and told the backstory, as you're watching it. None of that had been done before. Really that I had seen.
Right.
And I watched everything that was science fiction between Star Wars and Star Trek. And there was just nothing that was, or between Star Trek and Star Wars, and there was just nothing of that scale. And even now, we look at the original cuts and think it was primitive, but it was amazing for its time.
That's why George won't let us see them.
That's exactly right, because he's doctored them like crazy. And I know that when the new ones come out now, I always take Dad, and well, frankly, it's always me, Dad, and Chuck. We go see the new ones. That's it. But with that, I think I'd like to thank our special guest today, Larry.
Absolutely.
My dad, for coming on the Nerd Card. I'd like to remind you to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. We out there. Check us out. Dad, thank you for coming on the Nerd Card. And
you're welcome. I enjoyed it.
You're going to have to say this with us, okay? We're going to have to say,
What's on your Nerd Card?